Radhe Radhe, Namaste. I honor the divine in you. My name is Vasanta and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this channel I discuss astrology as well as personal branding, or as I call it, spiritual branding. And today we're going to be speaking about the transit of Jupiter in the sign of Libra. This is wonderful news and it's about to happen this month. So it is September of 2017. And Jupiter is about to enter Libra. It enters on the 11th of September. So what does this mean and how does it impact the world? How does it change your life? So I'm going to be predicting what the transit is going to mean for every single one of the signs of the zodiac. So keep tuned. So in the beginning, I'm going to give you a brief outlook of what Jupiter in Libra really means. So the first thing to notice is that Libra is an air sign, and this air sign belongs to planet Venus. Planet Venus is the planet of love, and it is the planet of comfort and also of material development, attraction, and it can also mean wonderful relationships and partnerships. So in Sanskrit, the name of planet Jupiter is Guru, and Guru means that person that can take us from darkness, Gu, to Ru, light. So from darkness to light. So the planet Jupiter is the planet in charge in our solar system to give us higher consciousness, or a notion of, bringing in divine knowledge, divine wisdom, everything that can help us to improve our life in a wonderful way as human beings. So it's higher consciousness. Usually in society, this is represented by the teachers or the mentors that, life brings forward in our life. And the sign of Libra, as we were saying, is a sign that belongs to Venus, and it is the sign of partnership. So partnerships are going to be very, very important. Jupiter is going to be stationed in the sign of Libra for the next 12 months. So it enters on September 11th, and it will exit on October 11th of 2018. So for these next 13 months, a little bit more. What we're going to be experiencing is that the world is going to be very aware of the fact that we're all interconnected and of the fact that we cannot go Lone Ranger about life anymore. There is going to be a very strong desire, at least intellectually, because Libra is an air sign. There's going to be a very, very strong desire to form partnerships. So there is going to be throughout the year something called the Kalasarpa Yoga that also affects the transit of Jupiter in Libra. And the Kalasarpa Yoga basically means that the planets get pushed to one side of the nodes of the moon of the zodiac. And it's going to be on and off during our times. So during the next year, it's going to be very present, this Kalasarpa, which basically means that we're gonna see that the world divides into factions, and we're basically, it's gonna polarize. So we're basically gonna find two factions of allies. And there's gonna be, the good news is that there's gonna be a lot of political talk and the possibility of really, using the democratic alleyways to establish, good relationships, good business, peace, prosperity, etc. So Jupiter in Libra is going to hail as a blessing for all of mankind. Had Jupiter not gone into Libra, it is very, very possible that that an armed conflict, a major one, would have started in the Earth. So as of the recording of this video, Jupiter has not gone into Libra, but it will. We're just a few days away. Today is the 8th, and Jupiter will go into Libra on the 11th. So we've almost made it. Once Jupiter is in Libra, then what we're going to notice is that, of course, there's going to be more open dialogue and more openness from the authorities or the people in charge, to establish nonviolent dialogue in the world. Jupiter aspects 5 houses away from each other, 7 houses away from each other, and 9 houses away from each other. So this means that the sign of Aries is going to be activated by the transit. The sign of Gemini is also going to be activated by the transit, and the sign of Aquarius is also going to be activated by the transit. So things that you can expect during this 1 year is we're going to be having a very big and strong boost in the area of learning as a humanity to communicate with non-violence. So non-violent communications and books about non-violent communication are going to be, the word of the day. Also, you can expect the advancement of new technologies. Global warming is again going to be a very strong theme throughout the year of 2017 and 2018, because Jupiter is going to bring us increasing awareness of the fact that we need to move forward and change to really non-violent means of producing our energy. So this is going to be in the mind of people. Why? Because Jupiter is aspecting the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius is the inventor or the wizard, is the person that wants to bring in what is good for everybody, especially when it comes to new technologies. So you can expect that solar heating and solar power is going to be on the rise, that electrical cars are going to be on the rise. Technology like never before is going to be put forward in a cheap way so that everybody can access it. And I think we're going to be solving a lot of problems through democracy, technology, and nonviolent communication. Now itself, the archetype of Libra is the scales. So the sign is the scales and the archetype is the sage. So what does a sage want? The sage wants to have as much knowledge as possible and to refine that knowledge to the point where it can simplify. So simplicity is going to be one of the key words, and also harmony. So Jupiter, remember that whenever Jupiter goes into any sign, whatever Jupiter does in that sign is that it's going to amplify, the field of consciousness of that channel. So the channel of Libra is a channel transmitting harmony, peace, yoga, sacredness, anything that has to do with holiness, with meditation, with introspection, with looking for lightness, for looking with simplicity to life. So you will certainly see an uprise in religious activity and, more important, spiritual activity in the world. You're going to see, marches of people doing events, of massive gatherings of people doing yoga and meditation for peace. The word peace is going to be very, very strongly present. Remember that the sign is air. So Libra is an air sign, and Jupiter is going to activate all the air signs, being Gemini and Aquarius as well. And it's going to activate a fire sign, which is Aries. So the value is purity. So the world is going to be given a chance, to purify itself, to purify the consciousness in the world. And so you can expect a lot of very, very good work being done in the domain of the arts, in the domain of communication, and of course in the advancement of ecological technology, the advancement of our knowledge of, what we're going to be leaving behind, the advancement in the transmission of knowledge. So for example, you will notice that, alleyways like YouTube are going to increase. People are going to be increasingly learning more online. It's a potential that hasn't been tapped into. So all this is, of course, on the rise, and you can expect it. Now, as Jupiter enters Libra, there's a period of 12 days, which is called the Pushkaram. And what does Pushkar mean? Pushkar is the person that nourishes and purifies. So it is the origin. There is a very beautiful Vedic story of a saint, of a rishi that through meditation and austerity got the boon from Lord Shiva to always reside with him under the water. And his vow was so pure and his personality was so pure that wherever he would go, he would purify the waters by, the quality of his consciousness. So he would meditate and be one, in his yoga with Lord Shiva. And anywhere where he was meditating, the water would become pure. So Lord Brahma requested Lord Shiva that he wanted Pushkaram, this sage, to reside in his kamandalo. Kamandalo is a little pot where, where sages or rishis, renunciates, they don't have many possessions, but one of the possessions they're allowed to keep is a water vessel where they keep their, what they drink, or, also, if they go to a holy river and they want to bathe, a holy object with water from the holy river, they keep it in the kamandalu. So Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, asked Lord Shiva if he would give the boon that Pushkaram would come to reside in his kamandalu. And of course, it was agreed that yes. And then when Brihaspati, or planet Guru, saw that Pushkaram was residing in Lord Brahma's pot, he asked Lord Brahma, since he's in charge of elevating the consciousness of our world, since he is Guru, that Pushkaram would come and reside with him on the earthly plane. And of course Lord Brahma didn't want to let go of Pushkaram because of divine consciousness that resided in him. But it was agreed nevertheless that in the first 12 days, when planet Jupiter enters a sign, yes, Pushkaram can reside in one of the 12 holy rivers of the earth. So in the entrance to Libra, then the river Kaveri is going to be blessed by the presence of Pushkaram. So generally what you can understand for the earth is that right now, the first 12 days where Jupiter is going to be entering the sign of Libra, then it forms the Pushkaram. And it is a period of blessings and purification. So what you're going to see is that a lot of positive consciousness is going to come into the world through many mediums. So you're going to be feeling a lot of sattva. Sattva is the quality of goodness in the atmosphere. So you're going to be noticing that. In the past few months, especially because we have had, it's been one after the other. So there's been a lot of, concentration of tamas, or the negative energy, the destruction energy of the world. And there's also been, a presence of a lot of Rajaguna, which is the quality of passion and creation. So, there's been a mixture of a lot of tamas with some rajas and very little sattva. But as Jupiter enters Libra, then what we're definitely going to be feeling is the presence and the coming back of sattva into the planet. So this happens for a little while, mainly, it's going to go from the 1st to the 23rd of September that you're going to be feeling this increased sattva. So this is wonderful if you have any projects, if you want to make peace at home, if there's anybody that you need to call, looking for better opportunities in life, understanding that peace, purity, kindness is the way to have a better life. It's a wonderful time for love. It is a wonderful time to let go of all patterns and all habits that are no longer useful to you. And remember that we're analyzing that according to the Dharma code, yes? According to the Dharma code, then what is currently present right now is going to be, due to the entrance of Jupiter in Libra, is going to be the presence of the element of purity. So it's purity of mind and a lot of meditation. So the world is going to be asked, like really no time before, to really introspect and go within ourselves as individuals, as nations, and ask ourselves, where do we really want to go and how do we really see the future that we are creating together? Is it a future of a divided planet, or is it a future where the planet learns and understands how to speak? The nations understand how to speak with each other. Is it a world that, propels overheating of the planet and frankly very violent ways of producing energy, very destructive ways of consuming resources? Or does it become a world where we understand once and for all that we need a change and that we need to make the choice to take that massive action to understand that where we are going is a place of peace and prosperity, respect and balance. So what the world is going to understand during the transit of Jupiter in Libra is that we don't need, more than what a good life requires. So it is a time for, yes, production of wealth. That is going to be on the uprise. The stock market, I believe, is going to be on the uprise. Buying and selling of technology, communication, and especially education is going to be on the rise. So you can expect the boom of the education over the internet during this transit. So you're going to be seeing that many teachers around the world are going to discover the power of the media, the power of the web, in order to transmit their message and be connected to those people that are interested. So that is also on the uprise. People will begin to be educated through platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Distance, it's no longer going to be a limited, or resources are no longer going to be a limited for one to get educated or even, learn yoga or practice anything. YouTube is going to grow exponentially during this time, and people that are teaching, especially in the spiritual area or in the area of diplomacy, comfort, politics, poetry, creation, literary endeavors and artistic endeavors, publishing, all of that is on the uprise. So congratulations. Remember, you have 1 year, and this 1 year is going to make you and take you to the next level of your mission. So it is a movable sign. So in the beginning, it's going to enter in the nakshatra of Swati, and Swati is owned by Rahu, so you can expect a lot of foreign influence coming in. So we're going to be increasingly aware of what other countries think. We're going to be increasingly aware of the spirituality practice in other countries. So it's not going to be anymore the Western way. I think we're going to start seeing, for example, in Finland, they have the best educational system in the world, and it's because of a reason. So if in our world we are smart, and we use the quality of purity and focus and clarity in our meditation in order to make enlightened choices, perhaps we are able to copy the models that are working just fine. So for example, in education, which is one of the areas that Jupiter is going to be interested in expanding during this time. So why not take the example of who is doing the best? It's no longer a competition. If somebody's doing it better than you, why don't you ask him? And why don't you learn from the experts? So at the moment, the expert in education in the world is Finland. So I think Finland and the educational system is going to be on the spotlight increasingly. So the transit is going to be positive. Why? Because even though Jupiter and Venus are very different, and Jupiter is inimical towards Venus, Jupiter is more about teaching higher consciousness, while Venus is more about keeping comfort and having a good experience when it comes to the present. Jupiter is a transcendentalist. So, according to the point of view of Jupiter, Venus could be getting a little too comfortable. And also, Jupiter gives everything he gives as a divine duty, and Venus wants to make a profit. Nevertheless, they are both the biggest benefics in the zodiac. So this means that the presence of Jupiter in Libra is very, very benefic for the world. So you can expect a lot of positive energy. Now Venus is, is primarily a female sign. So you can expect a lot of female energy, a lot more female energy coming into the earth in the form of purity. Now it's not going to be in the form of compassion, but in the form of purity. And it is in the domain of differentiating. What does differentiating mean? It means to understand, to clearly understand by the power of my consciousness and my awareness, the difference between what is bad and what is good for me, what is positive and what is negative for me. And once we're clear about our destination and where we are going, this comes through meditation. My Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj used to repeat that whenever we start any path, especially the spiritual path, one of the main things that we have to remember, before we take, a forward step, we have to be very clear about our sadhya. Sadhya means goal. So if we're not clear about our goal or the world we want to create, and we don't see it within ourselves first, how is it that we can walk in that direction? And how is it that the actions that we take are going to take us into our destination? So in this time, while Jupiter is present in Libra, it is increasingly important. It's of utmost important that we use this, this leverage, this positive leverage that Jupiter is giving us, this positive influx of energy that Jupiter is giving us, to find out what is the world that we want to create. And then empower our leaders, to take action, because ideally that's what democracy means. Democracy doesn't mean that we vote for somebody and that person just gets to do whatever that person wants to do. Democracy means the leader is elected to, to move forward the consciousness of the people. And if you see in our interconnected world where we have more information and more connection than ever before to the great teachers that are out there in the world, the question is, what is keeping us from following these great teachers and these great leaders who has the power? So the power is always in consciousness, and the power is always in visualizing and meditating and vibrating with, the power of our intention, the desire to bring forward that world which we see within our hearts. Great people in the past have done it, like Mahatma Gandhi. The peace that he gave, that he proposed to India, the peace, the freedom, the purity, and the liberation, that didn't come from outside of Gandhi. That came from inside of Gandhi, from his own consciousness. So before India could be free from the British Empire, Gandhi saw that a peaceful revolution was possible, and he found the peace not outside of himself, rather he found the peace within himself, within his own heart. So in the same way, during this transit of Jupiter in Libra, I strongly urge you to properly use the awareness and the blessing that is going on right now, especially in the time of Pushkaram, until the 23rd of September, to really go inside and find, what is truth for you, what is purity for you, and what do you see that your life should be like. If you don't visualize, if you don't meditate, it is very highly unlikely that you're going to get to the place where you want to get. Everything is possible, but we are usually just reacting to our karma instead of participating with life to create a positive result. So during this time, all these activities are blessed. There's of course going to be an interest in more luxury in the life, because Libra brings luxury. So you can expect, especially if you're affected directly, that you're going to be more interested in luxury and wealth generation. So it affects people in different ways, but the general trend of the world is to to have a more sustainable and a better life, of course. There's a lot of politeness and respect that is going to come back into the scene. We have seen a lot of our, public figures be in a campaign and, be very outwardly, in their actions and in their words, show really no respect for other people. But as Jupiter enters Libra, the world is going to understand that the dialogue and listening to others and their points of view, especially if they're experts, it's going to be very, very important. One of the things I remember about, reading about Steve Jobs used to say, what I don't understand about people is they go and they pay thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to hire an expert, and then just because they're the CEO or the boss, they want to tell the expert what to do. He said it's nonsense. If you hire an expert, you let the expert tell you what to do. So I feel that in this case, even if the president is the president or the king is the king, it's impossible that somebody like that, even though they have the command to take the choice, it's impossible that they know everything that there is to know about the condition of the world. So that is why, really looking for the counsel and the advice and the experts on the field is of utmost necessity. So it is not just about business in the world, it is about the politeness, having a time to let go of, our personal point of view or whatever, and really taking the time to stop and listen to the person that is expert. So in your life, try to connect with sadhus, try to connect with saints, try to connect with yogis, try to connect with those people that are a step closer to happiness than you are. And try to connect with the rishis. Try to listen to their message. What are these people saying? The people that have dedicated their life to, to meditation, to peace, to yoga. What do they have to say about the way that we can create peace in the world? If you listen to the Dalai Lama, for example, when I started my spiritual path, this is 20 years ago, I was listening to the Dalai Lama in the beginning because that is, we just had a few translations in Spanish. And I remember the Dalai Lama saying something like, if we were teaching 1 hour of meditation and yoga in schools every day as a regulatory principle, teach yoga and meditation to children, which is the path to peace and nonviolence. In his estimation, the world could change from a world of war to a world of peace in 1 generation. That's what he said. So that's the point of view of somebody that has dedicated his life to peace and nonviolence. So why don't we ask the expert in the field, I wonder. So if you are there, wherever you are, sitting on the other side of the world, remember the experts are out there. And you don't ask a politician about that. You ask an expert in peace. And then you bring your ideas forward to your representatives, those who can execute, which means take action, the necessary actions to take the world where the world needs to go. And I think it's no big news that our world needs to go to a place of peace. So why are we not asking the experts? Why are we not listening to the experts? Who's the expert in peace? Well, I would suggest ask a yogi, somebody that actually has peace. Not somebody that's trying to get inner peace, somebody that already has peace, so that maybe they can show us the way. So it's a beautiful message, and it's a beautiful time to make it happen. It's going to be a time of faith in God. It's going to be a time of a lot of prayer. So you're going to be seeing massive movements of people dressed in whites and perhaps taking to the streets. I remember this happened a lot in my native country, Mexico, when I was young. I haven't been there for a long time. But, when I was young, I remember the marches for peace in Mexico City, which is one of the biggest cities in the world. And I've seen millions of people peacefully protesting and marching dressed in white and coming over to the center or the zocalo of the city and manifesting their desire to increase the level of the peace in the city. So I think you're going to be increasingly seeing these peaceful marches, or people just like coming in together in groups and making yoga in a certain place. So there's a lot of idealistic views as well, so it's the time for the idealists. If you think about the people that have changed the world, well, they're idealists. You can think of Dr. Martin Luther King. He was an idealist according to his time. You can think of Mahatma Gandhi. He was an idealist. You can think of Lord Jesus Christ. He was an idealist. You can think of Abraham Lincoln. He was an idealist. But it's an idealist because they just see a more advanced reality than we do. If you think of Steve Jobs, he was an idealist because he thought that one day, we could have a computer in our pocket and that we could be communicated with the rest of the world and all the information and other people, in a cheap way and in a very user-friendly way, and in our pocket. And when he came forward, in the 70s, 80s, he was an idealist. But I actually think he was a realist. The only difference between somebody that is called an idealist and somebody that makes that ideal happen is they're willing to put the effort and they're motivated to take massive action in the direction of the vision they see in their heart. The same thing happened to Dr. Martin Luther King. The same thing happened to Mahatma Gandhi, and to all those people that have pushed forward the world to advance in a wonderful, good direction for everybody. So now, call me an idealist, but I believe we can have a world of non-violence, a world that respects all animal and plant life. I see a world in my heart where we can have sustainable energy and sustainable communities. I see a world where different religions do respect each other and understand that the link between everyone in the world is we all have a desire for love and happiness, and we all have a desire for a positive connection with the supreme, sweet, absolute truth. So there's things that we do share in common. Is that idealistic? I think it's realistic. So think about it during this transit. It brings a lot of assignments in foreign places, so if the transit hits you in the right house, you're going to probably get the opportunity to travel and get a job somewhere else, so get ready, especially if you have your sun, moon, or any prominent planets in air signs. You're going to get that possibility to go out there, give your message, or perhaps be hired to be somewhere else in the world. It's a time of generosity, so you can expect, people that have money or people that can contribute. Especially right now, where we're seeing so many natural disasters, you can expect the people that have to gather and contribute. So a lot of NGOs, a lot of non-profit organizations rising, which is the material expression of a good principle. It is not directly associated with spirituality, but rather to service to humanity, which is the intake of Venus. So, in that sense, there's a lot of humanitarian action, a lot of volunteering that is going to be required, and a lot of opportunities, that are in the uprise. As the filming of this video, I just got a call from my father from Mexico City, telling me that there was an 8.0 magnitude earthquake over there. So we see that the natural disasters, the earth is gearing us up to give us an opportunity to purify and cleanse ourselves and do some service. So that is also the transit of Jupiter in Libra. So there's a natural sense, yes, of honesty, fairness, trust, and the differentiation of right from wrong. So if you remember the Dharma code, it is the domain of differentiating, and Jupiter is going to be in full power in the domain of differentiating. So we're going to see very, very clearly what is right and what is wrong. And if you live in this world, and if you're a little bit aware, I can easily tell you one thing that is right and one thing that is wrong. One thing that is right is we need to keep our planet healthy and safe. We need to have a clean planet. We need to procure clean water, clean air, and sustainable food sources that are not contaminated by chemical tinkering. These are things that are obvious. So what are we doing about it, and what kind of world do we want our children to live in? So all this is going to come to the table. We're going to be increasingly thinking of farmers market, organic food. We're going to be thinking of perhaps taking a couple of days during the week and a couple of hours every day to practice meditation, nonviolence, and prayer, because it leads us to good health within ourselves and good health for others. So is that obvious? Is that idealistic? Is it possible? What would happen to your life if you practice 1 hour of meditation at least every day? Think about it. So now I'm going to go ahead and predict for each one of the signs. So for the sign number 1, which is Aries, so if your ascendant is Aries, then what's going to happen is planet Jupiter is going to go to your 7th house. And the 7th house is a house of partnership. Expect to have a more active and a more wonderful social life. Taurus, for the Taurus ascendant, Jupiter goes into your 6th house. So it is time to gear up for health. Health is going to be increasingly in your consciousness. to have a better diet, to have a better lifestyle. You're going to find yourself pinning or looking for videos that speak to you about a more regulated life, about a life of comfort, about the life of your dreams, about creating the best life that you can have. So it's going to be a lot in the domain of coaching, of having a good material experience, of generating the life that you've always dreamed of. It's also going to be activating your second house of wealth, and it's going to be activating your 10th house of career. So expect growth in those areas as well. You might go back for a PhD, or you might take a course on healthy living, or you might take a course on nutrition, which is going to be something very, very strong. It is also the time to get your legalities back into place. So if you have any legal issues pending, hire a lawyer. It's a very, very good time to, I don't know, make a testament, make a will, sign the papers. You know, if you have been gone through a divorce, or you're in the process of a divorce, and you're a Taurus ascendant, what's going to happen is that's going to go very, very smoothly. You're going to have help from the government. Also, you can expect, you know, as the world in general, the world is going to be passing on better policies that create peace amongst the groups. So now we go into Gemini Ascendant, and Gemini Ascendant, it's going to be a wonderful year for you because you have Jupiter in your 5th house. And the 5th house is the house of Purva Punya. So Purva Punya means positive karma coming in from the positive actions that you did in your past life. So if you're a Gemini Ascendant, get ready because the sweet stuff's coming up for you. You're going to be receiving so many blessings during this transit, so many blessings. So it's a very, very blessed time. It's also a time where you can have, you know, another child. Children are going to be in the spotlight, education of children, and also investing in the stock market, creative endeavors, speculations, or buying currency online. That can also be very favored during this time. Your ascendant is favored, so you're going to also be investing in yourself, in the power of your communication skills. So you're not going to be shy anymore to communicate who you are in the world. You're ready for that. And then plus that, your 9th house, or the house of Dharma and religiosity, also gets impacted by the positive transit of Jupiter. So you can expect to have a lot of beauty and stability and blessings in the area of your purpose or your mission in this life. So if you're a Gemini rising, you're going to be wondering, is like, what is my purpose in life? I just want to do what I believe in, and I want to gear towards, you know, that part of life where I certainly believe in. Then in the Cancer, if you're a Cancer ascendant, Cancer rising, another beautiful influence, yeah? You're going to have Jupiter in your 4th house, so you're going to be thinking about remodeling your house or moving to a new house, or you're going to be thinking about, you know, investing and making it cozier. It's all favored right now for you. And also, all the spiritual houses are going to be getting impacted. So your 8th house of mysteries and psychology is going to get impacted. So you can expect yourself to have more time to read about transcendental things and things that can move your soul forward in this life. The values of peace, forgiveness, letting go of anger are going to be on the rise, of understanding who am I, where am I going, what is my relationship with God. And finally, the 12th house of renunciation. So you can expect a pilgrimage to a holy place. So if you're a Cancer rising and you've been wanting to go to a holy place, to you know, where the origin of your tradition has come, or where the saints of your tradition have come, it is a wonderful time to do so. For the Leo rising, you have Jupiter in your 3rd house. So if you're a Leo rising, you're going to want to write about your message, and you're going to want to publish, you're going to want to tell people about it. You can also expect short distant journeys. So you're going to be moving back and forth. Remember, Swati is a shifting nakshatra, and it's also very swift. So you can expect a lot of this coming up for you, Leo. So a lot of moving around for you. It's going to be a fun year. Your 11th house of friendships is going to also be impacted, and your house of Dharma. So it's going to be a very positive year for you. And finally, your house of relationships also gets impacted. So generally expect more status in the way that you're living your life. You're going to get renowned, or you're going to get some recognition. Also good for brothers and sisters and your siblings. So you're going to be having a lot more contact and a lot more dialogue with your siblings in life. For Virgo, you get Jupiter in your second house. So remember, this is Virgo ascendant. So you get Jupiter in your second house. And Jupiter in your second house basically means dinero, money. It's time for making money. It's time for making and investing in, in material assets, such as a home, such as a new car, jewelry. Also, education can be very present. So it's a time of education. You're going to be investing a lot in your qualification, or in the way that you're intended to survive in this life. So it's a material investment, definitely, with the value of truth. So it may be that you're going back to school and investing a big chunk of money, but the blessing is going to come for that. If you're planning to open, for example, a boutique or a new restaurant, or a new venue where you sell, if you're an artist and you're opening an art gallery, it is the time to do that. So Virgo, you're very blessed right now with that. Your sixth house gets impacted and blessed, so expect a lot of work during this time. You're going to be very active, and you're going to be gearing towards excellence. So if you have a business, expect it to grow. And your house of career also gets impacted. So you're going to be recognized, and perhaps you're going to ascend in your position. It is very highly likely that you will do so. Finally, your 8th house gets a direct aspect. So the 8th house, remember, is your inner life and your inner psychological strength. So you're probably going to want to be reading books about excellence and how to have the mindset of an excellent person, of somebody that moves with success. Then Libra, for the Libra ascendants, we don't need to talk too much about this, but you as a person get recognized. You're in the spotlight. Your career is going to boom. You as a person are going to go into a total bloom. You're going to be believing that your message is worth saying more than anything, more than any time in your life. So it's a very positive time. You also are going to be collecting some Purva Punya, because Jupiter aspects your house 5 and 9. So those are Trikona. So those are the planets of good fortune. So if you're a Libra rising, it is definitely a period of good fortune. Your ideas will be honored. People are going to be listening to you. And finally, your house of relationships gets blessed as well. So you can expect a new relationship coming in, or a new partnership that is going to be exciting. So get ready for the adventure. Scorpio, you get the full spiritual blessing of Jupiter in your 12th house. It is time for a pilgrimage. It is time to listen and take time off from work and listen to your inner life. It is time to balance yourself. It is time to balance your soul. This past cycle, you were working so hard to survive. It was a very, very tough 2 years. So right now it is time for resting and purification for you, Scorpio. It's almost like you've been through an open heart operation. You've had so much responsibilities. You fell out with so many people. It's almost like you redefined your life. So now Jupiter is giving you the chance to make peace within. So look for a spiritual teacher. Go on a pilgrimage and really take the time to give your heart a breath and take a breath yourself. Houses that also get impacted are the 8th house. So you're going to want to be praying, and you're going to want to be understanding who you are in a transcendental level. In the 4th house of resting, comfort. So it is very, very possible that you're going to go back on your tracks and look for people that represent safety, security, and mentorship in your life, such as parents, or you can even be grandparents, or a maternal or paternal uncle that has taken care of you. Your house of health also gets impacted. So heads up, you have a very positive transit coming up. So it is very, very possible that if you need an operation, the operation is going to go well. You're going to meet the right doctors. So don't be afraid. If you're a Scorpio rising, you have blessings coming up for you. Then Sagittarius, you get full impact in the 11th house. So you're going to be ready to tell the world what you think is the positive philosophy. So all the activists, all the action takers in the world, it is your time. You are on the rise, and it is your time to tell the world your positive message. You get full impact of Jupiter. So if you're a Sagittarius rising and you have your ideas about moving the world towards more sustainable energy, towards clean energy, towards growing organic, towards, keeping a cow at home, towards, traveling and meeting new ways of seeing life, it is your time. Sagittarius, you're going to be blessed right now to publish, to talk, to make partnerships, to encounter love, to encounter inspiration, to encounter wisdom, to encounter the motivation inside of you to get out there and tell people what it is that needs to be done in order to get the ball rolling towards positive energy. So Sagittarius, very blessed during this period as well. Capricorn, you get blessed in the area where you like to be blessed. You're blessed in the area of your career. If you know any Capricorns find happiness, fulfillment, and the highest level of joy in being very active and being, scaling up the mountain. So it is a wonderful period for career expansion for you. So expect to be promoted, expect to, be involved in more high budget projects, expect to be involved in more in alignment with that dream project you've been dreaming of all your life. That's going to come along. So, the blessing that you're going to get, I think, is an influx of money in exchange for your expertise in the area of work. So there's a lot of growth for you. Also be expecting to be having to learn new things. And one of the things that could be, detrimental for you, Capricorn, is you can get stressed because there's going to be a lot of opportunities and a lot of growth. So remember, keep yourself healthy by making exercise every day and keep your diet healthy. I personally always recommend a vegetarian diet because that will give you strength and peace of mind. If you will need some extra strength, try to eat sources of protein such as quinoa and beans, legumes, and also nuts really help. So if you're out there and you're a Capricorn, keep your belly healthy. And you also get a blessing in the area of a home. So you might move to a place that you like a little more than the one you're in right now, in a place that inspires you and motivates you to, to be very active. So a home office is something that I also see in your path. Aquarius, you get blessed in the area of your Dharma. So it is the time of Aquarians. Jupiter is transiting your 9th house. So remember, Aquarius, it is your sacred Dharma and it is your sacred duty, and you have the right to perform that duty, to give unusual ideas to the world. Every single invention that has been brought into the earth is because somebody thought that whatever is being done right now could be done in a different way. I remember that Henry Ford, somebody asked him for a quote and he said, how did you invent the car? And Henry Ford said, well, I just thought that something different had to be invented, because if I had asked the people what they wanted, the people in my time would have told me that they wanted faster horses. But instead of faster horses, Henry Ford invented the car, the vehicle, and he figured out a way to give it, mass production so that the masses could access these vehicles. So Aquarius, it's time to invent, new technologies, new energy forces, and it is time to tell people. It is time to publish your work. It is time to get out there and let your unusual ideas be known. You're going to be favored right now with positive energy and the possibility of manifestation as well. There's a lot of spirituality going on with you, Aquarius, as well. Spirituality about reconnecting, about your yoga and your connection with the universe. And this connection, of course, leading to a more ecological, sustainable system. Your house of Purva Punya gets hit by Jupiter, so you can also, be involved in new creative projects, as well as the stocks. And if you're an economist and you're an Aquarius, you're going to do really well this year. And your ascendant also gets impacted. Then finally, we go into Pisces, and Pisces gets the impact of that positive Jupiter in the 12th house. So, 12th house, I'm sorry, 8th house. 8th house has to do with the occult. It has to do with everything that is behind the scenes, and it also has to do with your private life and the power of your psychology. So if you're a Pisces rising, what you're going to be looking for is you're going to be looking for positive ways to understand what's going on inside of your mind and your mindset. So mindset is going to be a very strong one, and if you're a Pisces, it is almost for sure that you're going to want to be doing some yoga during this period. So look for a yoga teacher, get on it. It's going to give you a lot of peace, and there's going to be a lot of Kundalini rising. So you're going to feel that energy from the base of your spine and your lower chakra, wanting to rise into your heart chakra in order to give you peace. As a Pisces, you're extremely sensitive, feeling wise. So you're going to want to be, keeping yourself a bit from that by the power of meditation and calmness and peace. So if you're a Pisces, go and look for a yoga teacher. You might also want to look for an astrologer, and maybe a tarot reader, or somebody that can give direction to your life. So generally you're going to be interested in the occult. Your intimate relationships are favored as well, and intimate partnerships are favored as well. Your house 4 gets impacted, so that means a rise in your consciousness of religiosity and the practice of the spiritual path. And finally, number 12 also gets impacted. So, heads up, take care of your spirituality, take care of your health. All those areas are going to be impacted in a positive way. So during this time, if you're Pisces rising, you may find a lot of spiritual inspiration in a figure that is practicing the values that they are preaching. So you may find a guru or a spiritual teacher. Finally, your second house also gets impacted, so you can expect a definite rise in economy, and it could be that some inheritance comes to you. So if you don't know your ascendant, I am currently working on my site. I plan to have it ready towards the end of next week. You can come to my site and click for a free Vedic chart online. I'm working on it, so we're finishing the last things. I'm updating my website these days. I plan to publish it this next Monday. So that transit of Libra is definitely working out for me. I want to serve you on the other side of the screen as much as I can. So expect for me to be constant, and expect for me to always be here during the year and for the years to come, God willing. To be able to, contribute to the world and add value to your life through my Dharma, which is to be an astrologer in this life. And if you're a person out there that has a wonderful message and you don't know how to present yourself to the world and how to get out there, I also, my dedication is to find wonderful people in life and help them get their message out there. First by understanding themselves through the power of Vedic astrology, and after by, with tools so that they can understand how to amplify that beautiful essence that they carry in their heart. I believe that if we want to make the world a better place, the best possible thing that we can be doing right now is taking 1 hour of meditation and 1 hour of prayer every day and going inside and finding that place of love within our hearts. And that place is going to come with personality. It's going to be different for everybody. So we're all going to find a different gemstone inside of our heart and a different value. If you want to change the world, change yourself. Be the change that you want to see. And once you've mastered whatever it is that you're here to master within your heart, within yourself, remember you can always share. The world is ready for your message. The world is ready to learn. And I believe that the world is getting ready to move to a very beautiful place. So whatever it is that you have to teach right now, don't be shy. Grab your phone camera, go on YouTube and share whatever it is that you know that can add value to the world. And those who are ready to listen to you are going to be waiting there for you. So from my side, I am taking shelter of the blessings of Sri Guru always. In my life, my Guru has always been the central point of my life. He is the basis of my reality. He is the place, his lotus feet are the place where I create from. And I always try to follow his teachings in my life. It has brought peace. It has brought better relationships with the people around me. But more than anything, it has brought purpose and meaning into my life. So I am once again taking shelter of that divine principle of Sri Guru. During this time, that principle is going to be channeled through Libra. So it is a time for peace. So I take shelter of all the spiritual teachers out there that bring the message of peace and balance and harmony forward into the world. I pray that you may be blessed wherever you are with all the light and the love of the universe. From my side, this is my message to you. Thank you for watching. If you want, you can visit my website, vasantadas.com. Most of the things that I speak in this channel are based on the Book of Dharma by Simon Hass. I'm going to leave the Amazon link below if you would like to know more about Vedic spirituality and the Dharma code. Finally, I would like to say Namaste. I honor the divine in you, and Radhe Radhe. May the goddess of love reign in your heart.